has now signed the Epstein files bill. We do have some major breaking news as we come on the air tonight because President Trump has now signed the Epstein files bill into law, the final step to force the Justice Department to turn over everything it has on Epstein within the next 30 days. Part of the president's lengthy statement, I'll read it here, where he said, quote, Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not the Democrats, with an exclamation point, was a lifelong Democrat, donated thousands of dollars to Democrat politicians, and was deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures. The president goes on to write, perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. Trump says, as everyone knows, I asked Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass this bill in the House and the Senate. That, of course, came after he fought the bill, but he concluded with, this latest hoax will backfire on the Democrats just as all of the rest have. Thank you all for your attention to this matter. Of course, this is the bill that the president spent months trying to kill. He is now taking credit for its passage on Capitol Hill after it became clear that it was going to pass at least the House. While it's a moment that so many of Jeffrey Epstein's survivors that you've heard from here on this show have waited so long for, it is notable the president did not mention the women who fought for this bill's passage in his post tonight. The fact also that the president didn't take the opportunity to sign it today before cameras is notable, given how many bill signings and executive orders he has regularly turned into lengthy Oval Office events and press conferences. We did hear from the Attorney General on this matter earlier. Pam Bondi was asked multiple times how her department plans to handle this process of turning over these materials to Congress, given the massive amount of data on Epstein that the Justice Department has.
What's going on, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear and see me clearly. I see you brothers and sisters rolling in the chat. All right. I see Ahava's in the building. What's going on? I see Marie Rita. Hello. Listen, this whole Epstein fiasco is really turning into a firestorm. And I just wanted to come through and pretty much give my predictions about what's about to transpire in the next 30 days, right? All right, I see the ones. All right, excellent. Now, of course, Trump decided that he was going to go ahead and sign the bill after a majority House vote, and after that ruling, I mean, it was going to be released regardless. Trump could have been released the files. Actually, he spent more of his energy trying to stop the files from being released. And, now he wants to say release them because it's very much simple. They were getting released anyway. That's what an egomaniac would do, But, this is what I'm thinking, y'all. Now, I don't know if Trump dealt with any children or anything like that. What if the reason why Trump is being so defensive about these files is just because the man is just really, really gay, like really gay. Like, what if he just blew everybody at the damn island? Because we know that in those files, we're going to get some context to blowing Bubba. We understand that. And the fact that this man has been extra catty about the whole situation, I think it's pretty evident what's going on here. Now, I want to share something. This is Trump calling some female reporter a piggy when asked about the Epstein files and why, since he has it on his desk, why didn't he just release the files, And this is his response, right?
Controversy today over the president's treatment of a reporter aboard Air Force One. Yep, he really did call a female reporter Piggy. She was peppering him with uncomfortable questions about the Epstein files.
What did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
Trump answered her first question.
I know nothing about that. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years.
But when she tried to ask a follow-up, he lashed out.
There's nothing incriminating in the files, sir. Why acting as
Quiet.
This photograph of the moment shows just how angry the president is, thrusting his finger right in the reporter's face.
Yo, why did he call this woman Piggy? It's so weird. I mean, she's not even thick. Like, that's just some catty behavior right there. Like, all she's doing is doing her job as a reporter, asking the questions that everybody want to know. I just don't believe it's very becoming of the president to just be hurling names, you know. Crazy.
She's Catherine Lucy from Bloomberg News. The president is clearly not happy with all the attention the Epstein scandal is getting. He lashed out again today at another reporter for asking about Epstein.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
I think you are a terrible reporter. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. What the Epstein is a Democrat hoax. Your crappy company is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
I mean, now y'all gotta use some logic here. If the Epstein files the whole time was a quote unquote Democratic hoax, Trump would be the first person to release those files. As much visceral as this individual has for the Democratic side, he would have been released the files. He would have used his unilateral powers to completely decimate the Democratic Party. So this is ideological subversion, man. Listen, it doesn't make sense, right? But let's continue.
I think the license should be taken away from ABC.
I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment.
Trump faced more criticism today from a gathering of Epstein survivors on the steps of the Capitol.
This is not a hoax, and we will not be erased.
Sharon Waxman, the founder and editor-in-chief of the influential showbiz website The Wrap, is comparing Epstein's seedy world to the secret society from the movie Eyes Wide Shut, where the rich gathered to indulge their sexual fantasies.
And listen, that's exactly what's going on. They've been having these elaborate parties for decades now. You know, they have these masquerade parties. They have the Rothschilds throw parties where they wear animal suits, and there's all kind of things that happen in these type of parties. We already know this stuff is real, and we know that Trump being a billionaire, for a long time he's been a billionaire. We know that he's part of the elite society. We know that. But anyway, let's continue.
The idea that these girls were handed around to powerful people is very much what Eyes Wide Shut was depicting.
Do you think we will actually get the names of people who were involved?
But I think what we don't know is what we don't know. And if Trump is fighting so hard to not have them released, it really does make you wonder, what more terrible do we not know?
Well, what we do know is Trump's name is mentioned in Epstein's emails over 15,000 times. And we do know that Epstein said in the emails that Trump didn't have a decent part of himself. He didn't have a decent bone in his body, and that he was one of his most evil clients. We know that to be a fact. I mean, that's something that we've seen. So what we're hoping to see is that everything in those emails, there's some added context to the emails. So what do y'all think? Is it a resignation coming? We should be talking about the possibilities of a resignation. Where was the other president that he signed a bill that exposed him and he ended up resigning? I can't remember. Was it Watergate? It was one of these presidents. If y'all know what I'm talking about, let me know in the chat. But it was another president back in the day that signed a bill and it implicated him. So this means nothing that he's signing the bill. Like, only MAGA's falling for that nonsense.
Does the new investigation by the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney prevent the department from releasing all?
Thank you for that. Yeah, it was Richard Nixon. It was Nixon. Yep, Richard Nixon. He signed a bill that got him exposed. So, you know, that's not something that's far-fetched for a president to do that to save face, because if you're the only one not voting, that's more humiliation, right? But anyway, let's proceed.
All of the remaining files.
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law and to have maximum transparency.
What are you doing here over the next 30 days, as we understand it?
We will continue to follow.
Yeah, Nixon was impeached, but he signed a bill that exposed himself. Yeah, thank you for that.
Follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
Yeah. When you say follow the law, Madam Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Yeah, I like the way that sounds. Hopefully the files are not heavily redacted. You know, there will be a lot of Democrats that will be implicated as well, you know, and we don't care on this side who is on the files. We're going to talk about either side. All right. Just to make the record clear, we're going to talk about either side. You know, I've already put out material on Bill and Hillary Clinton, and whoever else is implicated, they will be, you know, spoken about, right? Let's go.
Now, Attorney General Bondi declined to give any explanation on how the plan to follow the law is any different from what the department has been doing already, especially given it was just 2 months ago when the FBI director told Congress this about those same Epstein files in their possession.
We have released where President Trump's name's in the Epstein files and everybody else, and all credible information that we are legally allowed to release has been released. Pursuant to Mr. Acosta's collection of information based on the search warrants, that's all we have in our possession.
And I'm asking you, that stuff.
That's all we got. We are releasing as much as legally allowed. We are providing.
The only thing that should be redacted is the victims' names. That's it. We're hoping that these files don't come out and there's just whole lines and whole pages missing where we can't add context. You know, my prediction is that we're going to find out that Trump is a flaming homosexual. And not just him, it's going to be a lot of them. Whether or not he was dealing with underage girls or not, I don't know. I would not put it past him. But I believe that's what the resistance was about. He didn't want his cover blown. We're going to understand what the context is to him blowing Bubba. There probably will be video. There probably would be photos, everything, right? So that, and let me tell you, as sad as MAGA is, and I'm talking about the redneck MAGA, not the grifters. They don't care about the girls. A lot of his base, like, hold on, you blowing Bubba. They're most so focused on that, right? Now we'll see. We will see.
Everything we can legally provide.
The Attorney General did try to explain why, just months after her department declared that there was no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. She announced those very investigations that President Trump demanded last week.
What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads.
That would seem to differ from what the president has been saying over the course of the last few months, as his team has been trying to make the entire Epstein saga go away.
It's really a Democrat hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. I call it the Epstein hoax.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody.
I mean, I'm just going to ask a real simple question. If it's a hoax, how could the files be released? If it's a hoax, how does the files exist? Listen, when I say ideological subversion, you got to understand they're always telling you things that don't make sense on the media, especially Trump. He uses repetition to confuse people. How could it be a hoax if you're going to be releasing these files? And if it implicates mostly Democrats, where's the hoax? Logic.
It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
He said it's boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. Now, so far, Epstein's emails have been released, and those aren't boring. So you telling us that the individual who is running one of the most infamous trafficking rings in history, the files are boring and sordid. Now, I'm going to get a little bit more into what my prediction is, but let's let this play for a little longer. Let's go.
The whiplash over Trump, Bondi, and Patel's hyping and then downplaying and then hyping again the Epstein investigations is even being felt by some of the president's biggest supporters in MAGA.
I heard it's a hoax. And then all of a sudden, he's going to release the files. Well, I thought there was no files.
Man.
He wants an investigation now.
Listen.
Like, what is going on?
This is the end of the Trump administration. This is the beginning of the lame duck presidency. It's obvious to everyone he will trail off. He will get older. He's adorned the White House in gold. Epstein's going to suck the oxygen out of a lot of this.
I want to start tonight with CNN's senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez, who is among those questioning the Attorney General today.
I believe that the world powers are done with Trump. I believe it's the end of his era. And the reason I say that is because he's already spearheaded tyranny in America. He's already been in a position where the Constitution has been pretty much omitted. And they already used him as that vehicle. So now that certain rights, regulations have been put in place, now people are twice as more likely to be abused by military and law enforcement. People are now at the risk of actual, being deported, even though you live in this country. All of these things that he's already done, I think they're just done with him. And more than likely, J.D. Vance will be the president. These are just some of my predictions. I'm not saying that I'm right about this. I'm just saying, looking at this from the outside looking in, once you get a certain amount of power, they'll sacrifice you. And Trump is no different. Let's continue.
And Evan, I think she said multiple times they're going to follow the law. What stood out to you being inside that room today with Pam Bondi?
I think the whiplash that they are feeling in that building, because they really have stuck their necks out to try to defend the president in the sense that, they've gone out and they said there's nothing to see here. We've closed the books. And then they were trying to persuade members of Congress. You reported this, right? Lauren Boebert and among others.
To strong-arm them.
Yes, that's another way to say it. But certainly they were there to persuade them to say, look, if there's stuff you want to see and for us to brief you on, we're here to do that. And then, you know, the president goes out and says, we want a new I want another investigation. And they do that. And then he sort of pulls the rug from out of under them on Sunday by saying, okay, now vote for this bill that he was using the Justice Department all along to try to fight. So they are feeling the whiplash, and now they're kind of left in a very difficult place. Pam Bondi is now, you know, obviously there is an investigation, and so she has to navigate how to release documents within those 30 days that they're going to comply with the law, but also satisfy the rules that are, you cannot release documents that may be relevant to an ongoing investigation.
Right. But I don't know how many ongoing investigations they would have when, you know, a lot of this stuff happened many years ago. I get it. But I don't know what specifically they're speaking about when they say ongoing investigation. Release the files and it solves the problem. You know what I mean? Yeah, but anyway, let's go.
Well, and so the president signed it today. 30 days from today would be December 18th. And so do we have any idea what the Justice Department's game plan is in terms of what they're going to release if they have more than 300 gigabytes of data and material?
Well, one of the things that we know is that some of the documents have already been redacted. So for instance, to remove the names of victims, anything that would harm victims has already been done. The big question is, can they release documents related to some of the uncharged people who are associated with Epstein, but who are not accused of any wrongdoing? There is a law that is supposed to protect their privacy, and so that's kind of the big difference here. Some of the documents, the kind of things that you saw this week that were released by the Democrats, right? And you know, obviously Larry Summers is an example of what happens. Those people still associated with Epstein, even though he had been convicted in Florida, continued to communicate with him. They're not accused of any wrongdoing. And so now all of those communications, I think, are fair game to be.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I got MAGA in the building, and you know, it's interesting that none of them like to acknowledge what blowing Bubba's about. When we're making live streams specifically talking about that discovery out of the emails, it's like they're real quiet about that. But anytime that it's a deflection onto the Democratic side, they all for it. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care for either side. I don't care for either side. It may be celebrities there. It may be Democrats, Republicans. It don't matter. Yeah, y'all notice that when it come to Bubba, they ain't nowhere to be found. See? Hey, those files are going to add some context to these emails, I'm telling you. I don't think Trump is really afraid about some girls. I think we just gonna find out that, you know, he just blew everybody on the damn island. And there's probably evidence of this. Hey, y'all don't want to acknowledge that part. Somebody said, Bree, who is Bubba? Bubba is either Bill Clinton. It's either Bill Clinton or it's Ghislaine Maxwell's horse, because she has a horse named Bubba. And apparently, according to the Epstein emails, there's some photos that Vladimir Putin have of Trump blowing Bubba, allegedly, according to the emails. I don't even have to say allegedly. According to Jeffrey Epstein's personal emails. Let me repeat this. According to Jeffrey Epstein's personal emails, there's a photo that Putin have of Donald Trump blowing Bubba. But we don't know the context of that, but I believe these files will offer us some context. Now, he's been acting real catty ever since that came out. They don't want to acknowledge that social media been cooking. A lot of MAGA people don't want to acknowledge that, but social media been cooking. You know, I know it's sick and disgusting. It's a hard topic to even talk about. But it's very much possible that our U.S. president is out here blowing bubbles. I know, pause on the play. Flagrant foul on the play. But that's what's happening.
Released.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I think Mike Johnson was one of the leading voices saying that other people could get swept up in this, potentially just be embarrassed by this. I mean, Larry Summers, it's reporting tonight, he's not going to be teaching at Harvard anymore while he's under investigation. That's according to the Harvard Crimson. But, I mean, that is exactly what the president is pointing to in his very lengthy post tonight, as he's saying this is going to be way worse for Larry Summers and for Democrats.
Let me see. Somebody in the chat says you like this topic a lot. Yes, I like to exploit white degeneracy for financial gain. Yeah, that's what I do over here. I exploit white dysfunction for financial gain. Thank you. That part.
Than for me. I mean, he seems to want that information to come out.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know, because there's got to be, there are going to be mentions of President Trump in these additional documents. We know that that is actually one of the problems here for him. And but the issue is, are there other people who, again, have not been credibly accused of any wrongdoing, and do their lives get upended in that? And you could argue, right, that if you knew he was a convicted sex offender and you continued to associate with him, then what happens, you know, you knew what was going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Evan Perez, thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, he was associated. He guilty by association. I know, like, listen, I actually enjoy pissing MAGA off. I enjoy it. Shout out to all my my Caucasian brothers and sisters who understand what's happening right now. Now I want to share Miss Jasmine Crockett. You know, she has been, you know, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, she has been on it. You know, a lot of melanated women have been giving Trump the blues lately. A lot of foundational Black American women have been giving Trump the blues. Everyone from that federal judge that made him run them stamps back to Jasmine Crockett. Let's go.
Jasmine Crockett of Texas, and thank you for being here, because now this clock has started with the president signing this bill behind closed doors tonight. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, was asked earlier today about releasing everything. She repeatedly said, "We will follow the law." Do you expect that you'll get all of these documents by December 18th?
I do not. I absolutely don't expect that, especially when you start to say things like Pam Bondi said she will follow the law, because the only thing that we have seen consistently out of this administration, whether we're talking about the failed prosecution of Comey, and I'm saying failed because that is absolutely what I anticipate is going to happen, we know that they are always doing the opposite of following the law. Every time we look at those court orders that they have ignored, you know, they have literally put us in this constitutional crisis in this country, because for the first time we have another branch of government that seemingly thinks that what other branches have to say, well, you know what, that's advisory. It's not anything that they have to follow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I don't expect transparency.
The president said tonight he thinks it's going to end up being really embarrassing for Democrats. Are you worried that it's going to be embarrassing for
I'm
your
not
party?
worried at all. I can tell you one thing, I ain't never worried about my name being in the Epstein files.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. See, even, listen, I love that response, because people keep trying to make this a right or left situation when really it's just a right or wrong situation. People keep trying to make this a right or left situation, but it should be a right or wrong situation. What's right? What's wrong? The victim should have justice. And if it's anybody trafficking jits, they need to be exposed and punished to the highest extent of the law. If they're PDFs violating the youth, they need to be punished to the highest extent of the law. Why is this so difficult for MAGA to grasp? Most American citizens don't even vote. They don't care for politics. Most American citizens don't care. And they want those files released. Simple as that. There's no argument there.
So that's one thing that we can talk about. Number two, for me, is not partisan. As somebody that worked in the criminal justice system, I understand what it is to sit across from a victim. I understand their stories. I understand the trauma, and I understand the lasting effects. Wrong is wrong, right is right. And I think that that is what we are missing in this administration. It seems like he consistently wants to give a pass so long as someone is a follower of his. That's what we saw with the January 6ers, that he decided that he was going to pardon. And then even after they got in trouble again, he decided to pardon them again. He seemingly only wants to go after people that he looks at as if they are opposition. We in this country, what justice looks like is going after whoever is wrong, no matter their race, no matter their political affiliation, and no matter how much money they do or don't have in the bank account.
So you're saying, yeah, you don't care even if it does embarrass
care.
Democrats.
I don't care. That's not what this is about. To me, it's not political. We need to make sure that we understand how it was that this was able to take place, and we need to make sure that we tear down those structures. We have an obligation as legislators to make sure that we do better by the people in this country. We need to make sure that there are no other children that end up in similar circumstances, whether Jeffrey Epstein is alive or dead. We need to make sure, because it wasn't just one man.
Exactly. Because that's the argument of dirty MAGA. Well, Jeffrey Epstein is dead. He's no longer here. Okay. There was several billionaires who was involved, and they participated heavily in child trafficking. What are you talking about? The files are going to implicate those people who harmed those children. It's not rocket science. It's very simple to understand. There's people who harm people. In the files, Epstein has a clientele list. In this list, there's going to be some names on there. Matter of fact, there's already one guy that stepped down from a lot of his businesses. What's the guy's name, man? He already in trouble based on the emails, you know. But common sense. That's it. Let's go.
This was a system, a sophisticated system that was set up. And so we need to make sure that there are no other victims going forward.
One Democrat who's been on defense over Jeffrey Epstein is Stacey Plaskett. She represents the Virgin Islands. She was texting with Jeffrey Epstein the day of Michael Cohen's hearing. Her questions pretty closely followed the text messages between the two of them to ask about Rona Graff, Trump's longtime assistant. You were defending her today, or in recent days, yesterday, and you talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on.
And that's what they did. They used one clerical error. This is what they do with Jasmine. You know, she's on point, but sometimes she missed little details. But she's on point. I've seen her do this a couple times, miss little details on stuff, but she's so well informed that can happen. It's a clerical error. But see, what the news will do is try to make it seem like she's dumb because she make a clerical error. Nah, listen, hey, Jasmine be on a top. Don't even. I don't know if y'all seen that one video where she cooked Marjorie Greene, bro. She straight FBA roasted her. She called her a bleach blonde, bad body built, because Marjorie Greene tried to talk about Jasmine's eyelashes, and she was like, you know, I'd be wrong if I talk about your bleach blonde, bad body built. Like, you know, she a sister, so she clapped back. She's sharp with it. But nonetheless, Jasmine on they top, man. I mean, she cooking Trump for real. Let's go.
On us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says is that it wasn't.
You know what? It's funny. So I got a MAGA that says, but Trump can't say piggy. OMG, I'm done. All right, let's add context. Jasmine Crockett was disrespected by Marjorie Greene first. She said something about her eyelashes. Jasmine responded, if I were to say something about somebody's, she didn't even say it directly. She said, now, if I was to say something about somebody's bleach blonde bad body, would I be inappropriate? That's a clapback. Trump was asked about the Epstein files, and like a catty diva, he called a reporter, a female reporter, piggy, quiet piggy. You can't compare the two. Get your sassy ass up out of here, man. What are you talking about? See, MAGA be undercover. Listen, MAGA be undercover goofies, man. I'm telling you. They be trying to take up for Trump no matter what. No matter what. Let's go.
That Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not know.
A registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just doing a quick search on FEC. So, number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Well, Stacey Plaskett was texting the Jeffrey Epstein that we're all talking about. You voted against the censure for her to remove her from her committees. You know, we pressed the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, on this last night. Maybe you don't think she should be removed from her committees.
Correct.
But why do so many Democrats seem unwilling to say it's inappropriate to be texting with a registered sex offender about what you're going to ask?
You know what's interesting with a lot of people on the right? Let me see. You know, some of these comments are hilarious. Hold on. Somebody said, oh man, I don't know, maybe one of my moderators removed it. But you know, the deflection is very much real. The deflection is very much real. Y'all got to stop worshiping Donald Trump. Like, I don't think you really want to die on that sword. I don't think you want to do that. Let's go.
Ask a witness at a congressional hearing.
So I'm not going to necessarily say that that's the case. Now, this is somebody that was a former prosecutor. Now, I haven't sat down and talked about all the specifics of why Stacey was doing what she was doing. I know that when she got up and she spoke, she talked about the fact that this is one of her constituents. At the end of the day, what I know of prosecutors is that they are typically talking to co-defendants. They are typically talking to the people that have the best information. And what you had was you had the former attorney for the president that was sitting there. And honestly, we knew, or she knew, or at least Jeffrey Epstein presented that he was very cozy with the president. He had more information, registered sex offender or not. The bigger question is, why is it that the president was so cozy with a registered sex offender even after he ultimately ended up with some of his convictions?
I mean, look, you know, MAGA, you got to stop moving the envelope. You got to stop moving the goalposts. Let's address one thing at a time. The emails implicate Trump. Epstein himself said Trump was the most evil client that he had. Epstein himself said that. Let's go.
And seemingly, he had absolutely been on the plane with him. We know about the birthday card. The bigger question is, why is the president of the United States not the one that is in the hot seat for his relationship, instead of us saying, oh, you know what, we're going to take her off of her committee because he decided to text her. Stacey didn't initiate that chain. Jeffrey initiated that chain, and she took the information. Just like if somebody texts me.
Yeah, but she was responding and saying, you know, what are you talking about? Quick, I'm up next. And then her questions were about Rona. But do you think that was inappropriate? I mean, would you text with someone who is a registered sex offender about what you should ask?
I honestly know that he had never been convicted of any federal crimes at that time.
But he had been in jail already.
He had been
got
in
a
jail.
plea deal.
And my deal is this. The Republicans are constantly texting with a 34-count convicted felon. So if it's okay for them to text him at any point in time, then I'm not going to say that that's right or wrong, especially to the extent that you're talking about kicking someone off their committee. Were they sexting? Was it a matter of her being involved in the pedophilia? No, it was nothing like that. She was trying to understand. Let's say Jeffrey Epstein said, you know what, I have these pictures, these salacious pictures, because I know that the president got down and did these things. Do you think that it would be inappropriate for her to ask about those things if he said he had personal knowledge it's important?
All right, you know, they just getting they just getting catty and arguing. I don't want to hear this shit. I'm going to the next source. So in case you're just joining, we're talking about Trump. He signed the bill that orders the DOJ to release the Epstein files. It's going to be released in about approximately 30 days. And I want to give my predictions to what I believe is going to happen, right?
President Trump says he signed a bill to release all files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Justice Department is expected to make them public soon. Senate Majority Leader John Thune talked about the next steps for release.
I trust the judgment of the Justice Department to ensure that whatever files they release protect the victims, clearly. And I think there are other items, perhaps.
Somebody in the chat says, do you want Obama back? No. Obama, he didn't have a comprehensive plan for us, but Obama was better than Trump. If Obama's on the list, they need to lock him up. What are we talking about? What is MAGA? What are you missing here? What are y'all missing some chromosomes? Like, are y'all real? Are y'all minds? Are we in an alternative universe? What don't MAGA understand? The American people want the files. We don't care who's on the list, Democrats or Republicans.
Materials that were acquired through grand jury trials that perhaps they will have to make some decisions about, but I think they'll make the right decisions.
And CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is at the White House with more on this. Ed, good morning. So Speaker Johnson and House Minority Leader Jeffries shared some pretty starkly different reactions to President Trump signing the Epstein bill. Let's take a listen.
It's a big victory for the survivors, a big victory for transparency, and a big victory for the American people.
I said for a long time that I had concerns about some very serious flaws in the bill, but I'm glad that Congress has acted. I'm glad that we've been able to reflect that all of us were always for maximum transparency. We wanted to do it in a responsible manner, And I'm really hopeful that the victims and survivors take some comfort in that.
So, Ed, why does one see this as a big victory and the other couldn't help but express some disappointment?
Politics, Michael. Good to see you. In essence, Democrats, of course, continue to believe this is albatross.
You know, I hope they lock Bill and Hillary ass up too, because it's clear it's clear that Vince Foster's death wasn't self-deletion. I mean, that's clear. You know, in case y'all didn't know, in the Epstein email, it was stated that Hillary was doing the nasty with Vince Foster. You know, Bill Clinton's childhood friend, who mysteriously was found with 3 bullets in his head near the White House. Was found with 3 bullets in his head, and they called it a suicide. Like he suicided himself in the back of the head 3 times. Body was moved and shifted several times. And then we find out in 2025, that Hillary Clinton was getting her back blown out by Vince Foster. Yeah. So this ain't just no Republican stuff. Like, no, the entire Eyes Wide Shut cabal is implicated. And I'm just here to exploit the white degeneracy. It's somewhat like a kink, you know, just all this white on white crime I'm seeing. White on white high profile crime. It just don't get no more salacious than that. This the house of cards, y'all. This America. Hell, if they ate off of exploiting us, they use AI on us and they exploit Sharkeisha and, you know, everything exploiting us, surely. Oh, I could talk about these nasty Idumean Europeans, these Roman Empire folks. So I can talk about that. Now, only bigots and racists and raccoons and Uncle Toms would be mad at me about that, right? Can we all agree on that? The only people who are going to be mad is bigots, racists, fake conservatives that's really out here blowing bubba. Those are the only people who really going to be mad at me. Or fake Christian nationalists who really racist and hate black folks. Those are the only people going to be mad at me. Ain't nobody else mad at Nubreed Global Truth. They watch and laugh and they talk. Anyway, let's go.
Hanging around the neck of the president, while Republicans, some of them at least, have been reluctantly dragged into this. The speaker's concerns have to do with exactly what is redacted, in essence, and then there are going to be some concerns on both sides of the aisle in both chambers in the coming weeks as we get closer to release about what exactly the DOJ is withholding as it continues this new investigation into some Democratic officials who had ties to Epstein. Remember, it was launched just in recent days at the president's request. And yesterday, the Attorney General signaled that there are going to be at least some reams of information withheld as that active investigation continues. They claim that it's serious and that they have new information. We'll see about that. But that loophole that's in the law is going to allow the withholding of some of this. From a crass political perspective, there are some in town who are going to say, well, okay, that just means the issue won't die quite yet. And we aren't going to get answers. And the longer this drags out, it continues to be a challenge for this administration, which is true. But it also suggests that there could be other investigations underway that could yield some more serious information and potentially someone else getting caught up in all this.
Hey, so y'all want my predictions on all this? I'm going to just tell y'all like this, right? I believe personally that they're going to protect their own. I mean, let's just keep it 1,000. We may get some heavily redacted files. It's probably going to be pages missing, but all we could do is, stay here for the ride. It's going to be 30 days till they release it. And, there's going to be a lot of people throwing each other under the bus. There's going to be a lot of politicians and, people positioning themselves. I believe that Trump's time is coming to a halt, and you're gonna see more people than just Marjorie Greene, pretty much filibustering from MAGA and just kind of positioning themselves, because you got to understand, in the next era after Trump, whoever gets in office, they're gonna come in the whole auspice of, yo, we need love and peace, all that hatred that divided the country. Whoever's going to be in there next, in power, they're going to be somebody that's likable, somebody who's saying, we got to stop all this division. That rule of anarchy that Trump had, that's how they're going to be. It's probably going to be a Democrat. It's probably going to be a Democrat, and and then as soon as they get elected, I get to go in on them too. Just like I went in on Joe Biden. Yeah. See, you're not dealing with a Democrat. You're dealing with somebody who is fed up because the people who built this country, they don't have a comprehensive plan for us. So you just got somebody who's just going to really go right down the middle and break down Babylon. That's all. That's what you're dealing with right now. You're dealing with somebody who's just gonna go in on whoever is in power. Anti-establishment is what you're dealing with. Yeah, I don't care if you Democrat, Republican, I don't care. All I see is European dysfunction, Roman Empire collapse. All I see is Babylon falling, and these devils and demons are trying to, protect themselves. That's what I see. What say y'all? Somebody said, independent I go. That's right. Yeah, somebody said Trump is his first year, barely his first year, and he's caused a lot of damage. Yeah. Yeah, that's all we looking at is the Club of Rome. Like, we're gonna call it like it is. These people have been Vikings, and these people have been savages committing genocide everywhere they go. And the Democrats and Republicans just two wings of the same bird. I don't care how much force media they put into the conscious and psyche of the people. Well, it's the left, it's the right, left, right, left, right, left, right. No, I can see. And a lot of people who view my material, y'all can see too, because you was chosen to see. The Most High God did not allow you to be blind. He allowed you to have critical thinking skills. He gave you a mind so you can have your own thoughts. He gave you a mind that you would have spiritual insight and intuition on what's going on, not just believe anything the damn media box tell you. They tell you it got to be right versus left. You believe it. No. I don't have to subject myself to that. I can look at right and wrong and see what I don't like and what my morals align with. I don't need some political party to tell me which side that I need to be on. Those are for sheep. See, on this platform over here, I'm not trying to keep sheep in line. I'm trying to enlighten your mind. I want you to wake up, because the power is in you. The only reason these Epstein files are even brought to the table is because the people are starting to wake up. And it ain't nothing they can do about it. People are demanding answers. People are tired of falling for the same lies over and over. I mean, they do the same damn thing over and over. Every 4 to 8 years, you get Democrats, then you get Republicans. The Democrats set up the snare, the Republicans knock it down. The Democrats let people be free, sexually liberated and free to sin and wild out and do whatever the hell they want. Then the Democrats, they come and then they convict the judgment. It's the same damn thing. Once you wake up out the matrix, you can see it. You gotta unplug your mind from the matrix. They're doing the same thing over and over. The Democrats will push for gay marriage. The Republicans will say, hey, we don't want gay marriage, but we'll let you do it in certain states. So now they just compromised on something that was non-negotiable. Now, who's affected by the people? Who's affected by their decisions? The people. It's a term called Hegelian dialect. That's what they use. A land divided can't stand. A land divided cannot stand. So the division that they coming up with, it's not just a divide in government, it's divided the people. It's families divided because one family member is Republican, the other one's Democrat. One like Trump, one like Biden, one like Obama, one like, listen. Hey, look, I don't trust none of them. Ain't none of them did nothing for me. I want my 40 acres in a mule, fool. Give me some tangibles. See, hey, listen, my people want what we deserve. Bible says when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. The people are mourning. The people are mourning right now. America's not great. How can you make something great again that was never great? Nah. Somebody say you crashing out, bro. That's right. Yeah, exactly. See, that's that truth. When that truth hit, it sound like a crash out. Yeah. Somebody says because Republicans, somebody says, let me see. Because Republicans want less government versus Democrats want more government. Hey, listen, the government all corrupted. But I got more material coming. There's a lot going on. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for viewing. I think we pretty much left no stone unturned. But anyway, all blessings, peace to y'all. More coming.